Oh, what's up, y'all? This is Ikeo, man, and it's Thursday. We have a very special episode today. This is Thursday, so I kind of do like reflections and throwbacks, and I want to actually stay on point with what's going on lately, which I want to talk about the Ironheart trailer that just dropped yesterday. And if you haven't seen it, go in and tap in and look at this joint. This joint is fire. But I want to actually share with you guys like the reflections of when I very first started doing anything with Marvel, you know. Um, and it was before I got contacted by Dominique Thorne to do rap gifts for the Disney Plus series Ironheart, the Marvel comic book based off of Riri Williams. Shout out to Dominic Thorne. But before that, right, I haven't shared this at all, but this is my very first time sharing this. It was a while back, I want to say during Record Store Day, when Chris Rock came to Baltimore. And when he came to Baltimore for Record Store Day, he decided to get a T-shirt. This one, the specific T-shirt that he got from me from Soundgarden. I'm looking at the poster right here. It was a limited edition, based off of the Charm City Kings film. The executive producers was Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, and I was contacted by some reps at HBO because they wanted me to be artistic director to design the boxes that the people like cast members and people that influencers, they always were able to receive a box because during COVID in 2020 nobody was going to theaters, we were all social distancing, so they had me design these boxes, and the same design that I used to design the boxes, I also added that as one of the designs that I had that Soundgarden collaborated with me to launch 3 T-shirts. And Chris Rock collected that one shirt, the diamond T-shirt that I did for Charm City Kings. And I remember when it went viral on Twitter that he was at Soundgarden and he posed with the T-shirt with this kid. The kid got the shine, and I remember the reporter reached out to me, and he was like, "Look, man, we're gonna do a segment on you individually." So he came to my old studio in Charles Village, where I lived at the time. And when he came to Charles Village, he had me share, what I've been doing. And when I seen the video, the lady, the one that was that had introduced the story, she said, "Meet Ikeo Evans. He's done stuff for Marvel." And I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute! I ain't do nothing with Marvel yet." You know what I mean? But thank you for speaking that into existence, right? Because at the time, only thing that I did as far as what was Marvel related was my drops that I would do. Like in October 15th, 2020, my very first superhero drop was Meteor Man. The reason why I chose Meteor Man was because Meteor Man was filmed here in Baltimore in the Reservoir Hill neighborhood. So I decided to go on ahead and release that as a drop, and it did very well. And from there, what I did was I started to release a lot of superheroes, black superheroes, specifically black and brown, those who look like um, us. They wanted I wanted to really highlight after the Black Panther wave when Ryan Coogler did Black Panther, and that Black Panther did exceptionally well. You know what I mean? Shout out to Ryan Coogler, Proximity Media, and Marvel. For me, it wasn't on my resume yet. But it's funny because when I was on that news segment and the news reporter said he's done designs for Marvel and Dave Chappelle and all these other things, I would have never thought that months later, literally because it was in the summertime when this news segment had aired. Literally months later in October, I want to say August, September, October, 2.5 months later, Dominique Thorne, she contacted me to do these bespoke art for the Marvel Disney Plus series Ironheart. And they just released the trailer yesterday. Now, keep in mind, that was in 2022, but they just released the trailer yesterday. So I was able to repurpose the content and I was able to share what I've done, you know? And it was just like full circle because I was like, wow, this is wild. And I've been waiting for years for this thing to drop. We all have been. And it was with the writer's strike and the actor strike, all the things that were going on, right? And I remember when I contacted Dominique Thorne originally, it was because I knew that she was in pre-production with Black Panther 2. And I asked her, I said, hey, look, I know you're on Black Panther 2. It was wild because let me tell you this, I got to rewind back a little bit more. As I told you, my very first release was Meteor Man. So I released Meteor Man in October. And I kept releasing like Captain Marvel. I would release Green Lantern. I did release some things from DC Comics, and I was releasing nothing but superhero comic books because when I did research as I was doing the drops, I researched that some of the comic books that I used to read back in the day, they were worth thousands of dollars. So here it is. I found this site that I was able to actually get the illustrations at high definition, and I decided, well, maybe a lot of people can't afford like the original comic books. So what I'll do is I'll put them on hoodies, and I have so many crazy synchronicity stories. So as I was doing this, right, one of the superheroes that I did, and I'm gonna share this too. I remember Snoop because she seen that I had an Ironheart hoodie. And when I made the Ironheart hoodie, before I get into that Snoop story for a minute, Snoop Pearson, for those who know, she's played on the wire. Before I get into that story, I remember it was National Sneaker Day. And shout out to Brian Robinson with the Black Genius Art Show. He reached out to me because he was doing a workshop at Enoch Park Library on National Sneaker Day. And he was like, yo, look, you're into sneakers. If you don't, I know it's last minute, but if you can pull up at the Enoch Park Library to help me instruct this class on sneaker day, like it'll be dope. I said, okay, cool. I'm gonna pull up. I pulled up and he seen the hoodie that I had on. He was like, yo, he said, that Ironheart, they just released that Dominique Thorne just got the role. I said, no, I didn't know that. And I had got advised that I should, for me instructing the kids at a sneaker workshop, that I should take pictures of me because we were still wearing masks. I should take pictures of me actually wearing, this is in 2021, I mean, wearing the hoodie and instructing the kids. So after we wrapped, and after I told the kids, I took to my social media and I followed that advice. And then at this time, my photos of me wearing a hoodie, my HD photos, because I hollered at this guy Wavy. He had took photos of me. He had sent them to me as well because I took photos of me in Ironheart maybe about a week or so before. So I utilized in my carousel dump not only the photos for me wearing it and instructing the class for sneaker day at Yanapa Library, but also shared the HD photos and I tagged Dominique Thorne in it. And that's how I got contacted by Dominique. I said, hey, and I was like, yo, I told her team, I would like to do some things for her as I know she's in Black Panther 2. And they just responded. They, liked the message. And I didn't hear from them until in 2022, a year later. Literally, it was like a year later from that date. And they was like, hey, we've been wrapped Black Panther 2 because Black Panther 2 was actually about to be in theaters. And they said, but we do want to bring you on board. She has just finished wrapping her own series for Disney Plus. She, Riri Williams. So I was like, wow. So that thing came full circle. And I remember when I was making the Marvel superhero comic book, the limited drops, because I would do limited drops. I only probably like do the max of 20 to 30, because when I was working my full-time job at the time, I would put a pause or I would only have limited collection because I didn't allow myself to, have burnout. We talked about me having burnout before. And I will have a cap on how many of the hoodies was produced from that specific comic book. So going back to Snoop wanted the Ironheart hoodie. But as I did further research, I was looking up Ta-Nehisi Coates. It's a Black Panther University's created. And in this comic book, it was talking about Io and a lot of the women that was the fighters for Black Panther. And the women, one of the women, one of the soldiers that was helpful and black, that was one of Black Panther soldiers. Geez, I can't think of the name now. I'm mad as I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, I decided to make Snoop's character something that's catered towards her because as Snoop, she's basically part of the LGBT community. And I was like, yo, I want to make something for you that's catered to you. That's what I like to do. So in one of the stories, I can't really remember now, but when I was doing further research, I remember it then. But in one of the stories, two of the soldiers, they were able to be together. They were able to marry. So I decided that that can be fitting for Snoop, and Snoop loved it. Right? I made it a joint. She said, "Yo, like maybe I can." And the girl, and I lied to you not, the character in the comic book looked just like Snoop, because Snoop at that time, she was like. That's when she was living in Baltimore. She was like, "Yo, I want to be a villain. I want to be a Marvel, but I want to play a villain." And after she got the hoodie, she was pumped. So I went home, right? And I was searching on my phone, and in my news feed, it was this girl that had attended, who I follow. She had attended. She showed a throwback of her attending the Baltimore Comic Con, and she was talking about like, I'm excited for Baltimore Comic Con this weekend. I said, oh, someone just told me to look at the Baltimore Comic Con. So I looked at Baltimore Comic Con, and I was scrolling to see like who was going to be there this year. And keep in mind, I think at that time I never been to a Comic Con. So I was like, and then I scrolling and I seen the author that wrote from the same comic book that I just had did for Snoop. She was gonna be there. What are the odds of that? What are the odds that this lady that I literally just gave Snoop the hoodie to the illustrators. She illustrated that comic book that I did for Snoop. It was called the what was it called, y'all? Um, and I'm mad that I don't know this because it was so many years ago. But it was Wakanda Forever. It was Wakanda Forever. But I'll find the details. I'm gonna find my because I took photography of everything. I'll put it in the description. But yeah. So after that, I was like, yo, I had less than 24 hours, but maybe probably like 14 hours to make this person a hoodie. So I decided to make the illustrator of the comic book, being though she was in Baltimore Comic Con. I hurried up and made her hoodie. I didn't make it the same way that I did for Snoop, and I had to go to work at the time. But keep in mind, I was still COVID, so COVID had allowed us to we had to supervise ourselves, and I made the hoodie, and on my lunch break, I wasn't finished the hoodie, so on my lunch break, I went home. I could talk about it now because I don't even work for that job anymore. Went home, finished up the hoodie, and I went straight to the Baltimore Comic Con, found a parking spot, and I only had an hour lunch break, but that lunch break, what I mean, overlapped. But I was okay because nobody was there to watch me, because I was only with one there on a Sunday. And when I pulled up at the Baltimore Comic Con, it was also a Ravens game. So you can imagine downtown probably being, packed. Made it inside of Baltimore Comic Con. Keep in mind, it's my first time going to one, and I'm looking around trying to find what booth she was in. I'm asking around, found out what booth she was in, and I was like, her name is Afua Richardson. That's her name, Afua Richardson. And where these books are, I have actually one of her illustrations right there. I might try to get it. Let me try to get it for y'all so y'all can see it. So this is Afua Richardson, and she signed it. She signed it right there. On this date that she signed this, I surprised her with the hoodie. And I was like, hey, listen, you gotta understand, I gotta tell you the story. It's kind of weird. I didn't know anything about you illustrating the Black Panther Wakanda Forever series with TDC Ghost. I didn't know anything about you until like a week ago. And I literally just made this hoodie for Snoop because I wanted to get geared towards her, of who she is. And she loved the hoodie. She loves you. And when I was searching on, I didn't know that Baltimore Comic Con was this weekend. And when I discovered it, I seen ironically that you were in town. So I said, I gotta make you a hoodie. And she said, oh my God. I remember she had on this Harley Quinn outfit that, because a lot of people they wear whatever during the Baltimore Comic Con. And I wore my Luke Cage hoodie and I had my small afro then. So I was like, yo, this is wild. Like synchronicities and serendipitous moments. Like, what if so we did she put the whole hoodie on, right then and there, and she loved it. She followed me and she followed Snoop, and shout out to Afua Richardson. Like right now, she's going through um, a little bit of a hard time. She's battling, cancer right now. She's okay. She's been posting saying she's okay, but it's the fight. She's gotten surgery, But if you follow her, if you look up her name, Afua Richardson, give her some love. You know, if you see her on social media, if it's a post that she made, shower her with some love, man. But shout out to Afua Richardson, and I'm glad I gave her flowers right when I met her. You know what I mean? But I didn't plan that, and that was before I even got the opportunity to do the stuff for Ironheart. So in a way, you know, when the news reporter said he's done stuff for Marvel, in a way I kind of did. I was I didn't wait for Marvel. I didn't wait for Marvel to tell me when I started to do these ideas that I had in my heart. And by me doing the ideas I had in my heart of preserving the old comic books and also making something for Snoop for her to be able to, you know, something that represented her. And in turn, not knowing that the illustrator from the Black Panther Forever was going to be in Baltimore Comic Con that year, and I met her, to only a couple of months after that be in connection with Dominique Thorne for the Marvel uh, Disney Plus series Ironheart. So that's what I be having. I be having a lot of full circle moments, and it's mainly innately because Akio, it means, you know, glorious hero and bright man. My mother's name was Glorious Taylor. So the brand is really commemorating the glorious heroes. Yes, all heroes don't wear capes, and there's superheroes in the world, but the heroes that don't wear capes, for me, they are considered the glorious heroes. The glorious heroes is the heroes that we see every day. You know, that may pass us by. It's our grandmothers, our uncles, our grandpops, our grandmothers. You know, the person that doesn't necessarily broadcast what they have done, but they're doing the work. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys, and be on the lookout for more to come as far as it relates to more drops that I will be releasing in the future. I'm gonna get back into doing that. But whatever you want to do, yo, like, don't wait for nobody. You get what I'm saying? If it's not to harm anybody or not to take, and you're looking to only give, or you're saying what lacks. Like, I seen that, okay, everybody can't afford the $1,000 to $2,000 comic book, but okay, so what if we just wear it? What if we just, because I didn't see that nowhere. And I'll tell you about that another story, but you start to see that type of illustration, that type of design everywhere. When I was doing it in 2019, 2020, you start to see the you know, we'll talk about it another time. Again, that's an open tab. So hold me to that. Hold me to the story, because I seen something that was recreated that people was tagging me in it. And I was just like, look, it's okay. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? That idea, it came and went. It's whatever. But I encourage anybody, if you haven't seen it, check out that new Ironheart um, trailer with Dominique Thorne. Shout out to Dominique Thorne. Shout out to Ryan Coogler. He's the executive producer. Shout out to Proximity Media. Shout out to Disney Plus. And I can't wait to see it. Shout out to Anthony Ramos. He's going to play the villain Hood. When I was doing the illustrations for the Blazers that I did for Dominique Thorne, it was a total of, I think, like 10 Blazers. And the commission pieces, it's like one of one, but it was like something like a friends and family collection. I posted it on my social media, so I encourage you guys to look at that. I would have went further in detail, but I'm trying to separate certain content. This is for me to just be able to talk, but when you get on social media, you'll be able to see all the meats and bones of what I'm talking about. But this is just a platform for me to be raw. And then maybe in the future, I'll be able to repurpose some of these videos and add B-roll to it. But I just want to give you all a raw and uncut. And I thank you guys all for those who have tapped in thus far. I had to shoot this episode a little earlier today because, I have some things I'm doing this evening that's going to require my time. And I'm going to have to do the same thing again tomorrow with another early episode. So if you see these episodes a little earlier in the day, it's because I had to do some things, right? And I'm going to have to do the same thing next week because Artscape is, I ain't going to be able to record these late episodes, you know what I mean? So I got to get in here early and post early. So if you see it on the timeline, don't be discouraged. You know what I mean? I've already posted. You know what I mean? So anyway, with that being said, thank you guys for tapping in. I'm excited to see what's happening in the future, and let me know what you think in the comments, of course, and appreciate you. Much love, much respect, And I'll see you guys tomorrow with the next one. Peace.